able to save it and just keep going on like nothing happened. Now I ain't gonna lie, when that happened, the video doesn't know justice on how terrifying it actually was. YouTube. So in today's video, this is gonna be a little quick, I guess, a review of our last event at OSR Motorsports Park, which is our first drift event since the car has been down almost 2 years ago. So the event was phenomenal. We had an amazing time out there. The car performed amazingly. I performed amazingly. Had my family out there, and they got to see me do what it is that I do. Overall, with the newest addition to the car would be the FDF angle kit, E85, and an oil cooler. Now with the oil cooler and the E85, it actually kept the car really cool pretty much the entire event. The car basically didn't go over, I think, like 206 degrees as far as the cooling temp goes. And I mean, I was really looking at that right after the run, not during the run, but I didn't really see it go any higher than that, which is phenomenal. And usually when the car was stock, it would get up to about 230 or something like that after a run. And I mean, that's not that bad either. That's pretty good as well. But of course, you want to let the car cool down a little bit. And in addition, shout out to my tuner, Corey Schaefer. He helped me with the tune to get the radiator fans and everything to run at a certain temperature so that we keep the car cool as long as possible. With the FDF angle kit, it's different from the angle kit that I previously had, which is from the Mustang factory, which is a custom cut knuckle dual arm setup. And if you didn't know, the S150 Mustang comes with a dual arm control arm setup on the car, and that's basically where it just literally has two control arms, and they have like a virtual pivot point where they kind of like rotate a certain way. It's really good for, I guess, say like regular track racing and for high speed, because it helps with the car's alignment. That's pretty much what it's for. It's to help with the car's alignment, keep it in check so that when you're going at high speed, there's not huge alignment changes as you're hitting bumps and stuff like that. The angle kit was phenomenal. The car felt great. I would say the track width was a little bit narrower than my FDF angle kit, and that was by design. Jeff Williams, shout out to him. He designed it because he designed it a little bit shorter because he knew that, you know, I'm going to be street driving the car. I guess you could say this video is going to become slightly a review about the angle kits. So I'm just talking about the differences between them. With the dual arm angle kit, it's pretty easy to install. Of course, it was my first angle kit, so there was a lot of learning curve I had to go through to be able to figure out how to make it work on my car. As far as like adjustments, it's pretty easy to adjust as well, but the difference between FDF and the Mustang factory angle kit is that with the FDF one, it has quick adjusters on there, so you can literally just, it has like a nut on the back of the heim joints through the control arm, so you can basically just undo that nut and then it'll allow you to adjust the heim in or out on the control arm without having to remove any parts off of the car. Versus with the Mustang factory angle kit or any other angle kit that doesn't have quick adjusters on it, you pretty much have to unbolt each heim off of the car, adjust it in or out however you need it, and then put it back in, bolt it up, and test it. With the FDF angle kit in comparison to the Mustang factory angle kit, that is a huge plus, being able to adjust it on the car, which I really love, because to be honest, once I set the car up the first time, I don't really mess with it. I just leave the car the way it is. And I may do some tiny adjustments here and there, but for the most part, 9 times out of 10, once I set it up the first time, that's just how the car is going to be, because I don't want to work on it. I don't want to mess with it. I don't care to mess with it. If it drives good, I'm going to drive it. And if it drives weird, I'm just going to adapt to it, pretty much. With the Mustang factory angle kit, as far as the steering goes, I had to run a ton of caster to have positive acumen, which is what I like for the most part. And I did drive the car with reverse acumen, and to believe it or not, it actually felt amazing. And the car was really fast in drift. It was kind of insane how fast it was. But since I street drove the car primarily, having reverse acumen was not good, because it basically be plowing the lead tire when you turn, and when you were driving the rain, it would kind of try to plow in the rain, which is very dangerous. With the dual pivot situation, as the car turns, it gains caster, a ton of caster. So to get that positive acumen, for some reason I also changed acumen with the caster increase and decrease, because it increases on the lead wheel and decreases on the trail wheel, basically, as far as the caster goes. So my acumen also changed when I would turn. So to get that positive acumen, I ended up having to increase my caster probably about, I think it's around like 11 degrees or something like that, really high. And I got positive acumen. The car drove very well, but for For some reason, the car didn't really self-steer. It still didn't self-steer, but it not self-steering wasn't even a problem because the car was so predictable and so easy to drive that it didn't really make no difference on whether it self-steered or not. All I had to do was just guide it, walk the steering wheel like I usually do, and it just did exactly what I told it to do. Now with the FDF angle kit, they recommend you to run, I think, about like 7 degrees of caster. I'm probably running more than that because I just like the steering feel that high caster gives you and the weight jacking that high caster gives you because the wheel starts leaning over. So I increased it pretty much as much as I can physically get it right now. I can get more, but I need the wheels to fit, under the car. So I ain't go too crazy with it. So it's probably around like 8 or 9 is my guess, right about now, 8 or 9, maybe a little bit more as far as the caster. And the car actually does self-steer, not perfectly. It doesn't self-steer like no S chassis or anything like that, but it self-steers decent enough where the car is fairly easy to drive. Well, I say fairly, it's very easy to drive. It borderline kind of drives like my sim, and you'll be able to see that with the videos I have in the background. You'll see that the steering naturally wants to rotate and the car naturally wants to transition by itself without me having to walk it or completely force it to transition with the steering and the throttle like I would have to when the car was stock or with the previous angle kit. That also made the car more predictable and a lot easier to transition and maneuver in a quick manner. If you have to walk the steering wheel through everything, it kind of makes it hard to do quick transitions because you also have to move your arms super fast to keep up with the car's rotation. So with that, made it way easier to drive through transitions, especially when we did the second layout at OSR Motorsports. With the first corner, I just did a big clutch kick and faint entry into there, and I naturally wanted to pull the handbrake, but I never did because I just felt the car naturally just start swinging and rotating. The steering wheel just did its own thing, so I just let the car just rotate in, and I would just hammer down on the throttle and just gas it all the way around the corner, and with a little bit of decel because it's a decreasing radius turn. So I had to decel kind of halfway through the turn just a little bit. Another thing I also noticed is that with the way my kit is set up, I do get a little bit of bump steer. Going through a little sweeper, it's pretty bumpy, so I have to make sure that I'm holding onto the steering wheel pretty well and guiding it appropriately to avoid the wheel snapping out of my hand. And I noticed if I like snap the foot brake really hard too quickly, it will actually try to snap the steering wheel out of my hand, which if you see in this clip right here, you actually see that the wheel actually, when I stabbed the foot brake, the wheel snapped back, but I caught it instantly and was able to save it and just keep going on like nothing happened. Now I ain't gonna lie, when that happened, the video doesn't do justice on how terrifying it actually was. It felt like the car was just about to whip out of the way, but I was able to hold on to it. That right there is something I gotta keep in mind when it comes to braking. Kind of take it easy with the brakes. My car does have stock ABS, stock brakes, stock everything except for the addition of the inline hydro. With the inline hydro at this event, I actually didn't use it that much. I really wanted to use it a lot because it actually feels really cool to use it, and it just worked. And it has a lot of stopping power in comparison to having the stock handbrake where it's the cable. So with the hydro, with it being inline, I didn't really have any issue with pressing on the foot brake and the handbrake and using the handbrake at the same time. I used it plenty of times like that, and I didn't really have any issues. I think I may have an issue if I press the foot brake too hard, then I might have a feedback issue going back into the handbrake. But other than that, overall, like I said, every time that I used it in conjunction, every time I used the foot brake and the handbrake at the same time, I didn't really have any issues or any weird feedback, and the car didn't like lock all fours or nothing like that. It just did what it did. Now, as far as my one tandem run, I wish I could have got a couple more runs, but this event I mainly focused on my family and the people that was out there. There was all my family members wanted to get a ride in the car, and on top of that, there was a lot of spectators that wanted to get a ride in the car. So with the first layout, it was kind of hard to change passengers because I had to go into the pits and pick them up. By me going to the pits, I'll basically be holding up whoever I'm tandeming with because they basically had to like get out of line or wait on me, and then that's costing them seat time. So I decided that I was just going to just do solo runs for the sake of my family and friends and spectators getting a ride in the car, because that's what they wanted, and that's what it's about. For the two runs I did in tandem, which is lead and chase, I got to chase him in his LS Swap 350Z. That thing is pretty fire. I really like the livery on it. I really like the way it sounds, the way it looks, the color scheme and everything. Yeah, he's a phenomenal driver. He gave me an amazing lead to follow, and then I gave him an amazing chase to follow. Now our lines were a little bit different. If you notice, coming into the course, I went a little shallow on the first part of the corner, coming up to the wall, but then I go really wide coming up to the wall and around the cones, and then back into the transition, continue wide. For him, he'll go wide coming into the corner, and then he'll go he'll kind of treat the inside cone as a inner clipping point, and then he'll go wide on the last corner. You should be able to see it in the video. It was great to follow him, and it reinforced to me again that my skills are still there. But like I said, I haven't drifted my car in about 2 years, but I've always played on the sim throughout all this time. There's no car on the sim that feels anything like my Mustang, to be honest, outside of, I'll say, the weight and the way the car transitions in a way with some of the Mustangs in the game. So your question to me would probably be, then why are you using the sim? Well, if the sim doesn't feel anything like your car, what good is it? Well, for me, the sim isn't necessarily about the feel of the car, because realistically on the sim, you don't feel the tires, you don't feel the G-force, you don't feel the weight of the car, you don't feel none of that. All you feel is what your hands are telling you that the car is doing and what your eyes are seeing. So therefore, what's important to me about the sim is the car placement. Where am I placing my car on the track, and gauging, basically, let's use the wall as an example, gauging where my car is relative to a wall based on my physical position inside the car. I use the game for that, for car placement, knowing where to place my car when I'm in a certain situation with another driver or a certain situation on the track, and just practicing different driving techniques to be able to drive through any scenario that I go through, basically gaining adaptability. And by doing that, I'm able to go into my car and do the same thing, adapt to whatever it is that the car is doing, what I'm feeling on track, because no track is necessarily perfect with the grip. It's not like you get the same grip everywhere throughout the track. And plus, everybody drives different lines, so there's different rubber in different spots, which will vary the grip greatly in different areas, and you have to be able to adapt to that and be able to know how to maneuver through those situations so you don't put your car into a wall or have a weird situation when you're tandeming with somebody. The sim gave me that adaptability. So throughout my first tandem, I thought this time I was able to tandem like I never stopped driving, because I had that adaptability. I was able to adapt to his driving style, and he was able to adapt to my driving style. And even when we went to the second course, I was able to adapt to that, because, you know, around the first lap of doing the second course, I just fainted in, just went full send, and just got used to the course immediately. I just knew what I needed to do. Overall, that event was phenomenal. Like I said, the new setup on the car, the angle kit feels amazing. It's made the car even easier to drive, and it naturally wants to rotate a lot easier. And oh yeah, I forgot another big change I did. I took the rear sway bar off, which realistically, being that the second course had a bank on it, it would have been better if I had the rear sway bar on. But like I said, when I set my car up a certain way, I'm not going to the track and changing it unless I have to. When I go to the track, I just want to drive. I don't want to mess with the car. If it's set up weirdly or whatever, it is what it is. I'm just going to adapt to it, unless it's something that I really need to change, or something that's really might be dangerous to be driving the car that way on course. And that did increase the side bite, but it also increases the forward drive as well. Being that the car had even more forward drive, being that the car is all forward drive, I basically just had to drive the car harder. And what I was looking for by doing that was I was trying to get that forward drive that I usually set my cars up to have. Typically on the sim, 9 times out of 10, unless it's like a really fast course, I would usually remove the sway bar on the car, because I'm looking for this particular type of grip. And what I mean by that is, when I'm coming up to a wall, or I'm throwing a ton of angle, or in any scenario like that, I like to just pick up the throttle and the car just can hook. You know, it will rotate, it'll hook at that angle, and then I could just drive out of it or drive through it. That's pretty much how I like to drive. I like to do long, sweeping type of drifts. It just looks like the car is just on edge, just going really wide. It looks very planted. That's the style that I want. And by me removing the rear sway bar, it actually made the car easier to drive with my driving style, where I can just chuck the car into the angle and it just starts booking. Now, of course, with the rear sway bar being off, like I said, I have to drive the car a little bit harder, which I don't mind, because I like to use a lot of throttle. And if I can stay full throttle, I would prefer to stay full throttle. But 9 times out of 10, this car, you have to kind of pedal it on most tracks, because the car has a ton of power, and the car naturally wants to over rotate half the time, until you get an angle kit and do some suspension mods. Then you kind of mitigate those issues. Now my plan and or my goals is to do a lot more tandem driving, finally get even more comfortable tandeming in my car. And being that my car isn't necessarily my daily anymore, I can now in a way get out of the mentality of babying the car to a certain extent, because like I said, I do still really like my car. So I don't want to just write it off and turn it into a missile or anything like that. I still want it to look nice and look presentable to my audience and those that are at the track. I don't want it to be bashed up or anything like that, but I want to drive harder. So we're going to have to find a balance of me driving hard and keeping the car looking nice without damaging it too much, or at all, really. So like I said, we're gonna do more tandem driving. I need more seat time in general. It's been a minute, so I need to get back into the zone, get back into driving, and eventually I would like to do a consistent competition series, probably MB Drift. I would prefer to do a series that was a little bit closer, but MB Drift is the closest that's doing a consistent series near me, even though they're like about 4 hours from where I live. Things you can look forward to would be in November, I want to go to Hardline Motorsports event in Cordell, Georgia. So it'll probably be like 150 drivers there. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, I'm just there to just drive, have fun, see a bunch of people and see a bunch of cars and see other people's builds. So in November, look forward to seeing that video coming out whenever that time comes. We got a few months to prepare for that, and maybe a car show for the cars. So we'll see what we can get into, and then for next year, like I said, I would like to do MB Drift series or any other local series that's near me as far as competition goes. In addition, we may do Grid Life, Road Atlanta. Since Road Atlanta is about, I think like 2.5, maybe 3 hours away from me, we may do Grid Life. We'll see if we're able to do it. I know that I won't be able to do any tandem probably, because I think the rule is you have to have a cage to do tandem at Grid Life. So that kind of sucks, but I get it. My car is not caged. I don't really plan on caging it until or if we turn this car into a serious drift car, if I don't mess around and get another car to make a pro car or something like that. If you guys want to follow along with my journey as a driver, you know, trying to become a professional at some point, of course, subscribe to the channel and follow along. Like I said, those are the events and things that I'm looking forward to doing, and of course we'll be filming all of it. Most of it's gonna be POV driving content, because you know I can only film but so much, and my family members, they can only film but so much. So most of my content is going to be primarily POV driving. And that's the kind of content that I prefer anyway, because I like to study other drivers and see how they maneuver around certain situations, so that I can learn their techniques and I can apply them to my own driving, whatever it is that I'm going through. So that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.